Welcome to Litbit channel. Today we will see the comedy of humor. Let's see what it means. The comedy of humor is a type of comedy where each character is controlled by a single dominant trait or humor. This idea comes from the medieval beliefs in the four bodily humor: blood, phylum, yellow pile, and black pile, that were thought to affect personality. For example, blood leads to a cheerful nature. Phylum causes a calm or lazy temperament. Yellow pile make one fiery or aggressive. Black pile result in melancholy or sadness. In this genre, a character action and speech revolves around one of these traits, which is exaggerated for comedic or satirical effect. As we see the definition, the comedy of humor features character driven by one dominant trait, like greed or jealousy, which defines all their action. These exaggerated, one-dimensional characters are like caricature designed to highlight human flaws. In contrast, Shakespeare's characters are multidimensional. They experience a range of emotions, conflicting desires, and realistic behavior. For example, Hamlet isn't just sad, he is also thoughtful, indecisive, and sarcastic. This complexity makes Shakespeare's character feel more human and relatable. Unlike the rigid, stereotypical figures seen in Ben Jonson's comedy of humor, Shakespeare's ability to create such lifelike character is what makes his works timeless. When it was started, time period, the comedy of humor gained popularity during the late 16th and early 17th century, especially in the Elizabethan and Jacobean eras. Playwrights like Ben Jonson pioneered this style, using it to reflect and critique society. Ben Jonson is the key figure in the development of the comedy of humor. He introduced the concept of characters dominated by one humor to highlight societal issue. Famous works by Ben Jonson: Every Man in His Humour in 1598 focuses on character driven by jealousy, greed, and otherwise. Wellborn in 1606, that is satire on greed and corruption. The Alchemist in 1610 highlights deceptions and gullibility. Let's see key features of comedy of humor. First one, realism. The plays were grounded in real life, often set in familiar urban environments like London. This made the satire relatable to the audience. Next one is satire. The goal was to mock and criticize human flaws, societal vice, and weakness. The character driven by the dominant traits become tool for highlighting these flaws. Next one, single trait focus. Each character was a type dominant by one trait, such as greed, vanity, or hypocrisy. Unlike complex evolving character, these figures remained fixed throughout the play. Next one, coarse and brutal tone. The humor was often harsh, designed to shock and force audience to confront unpleasant truth about society and themselves. Next one, characteristics of a comedy of humor. First one, types of character. Character embodied a specific voice or follies. For example, a greedy merchant, a vain nobleman, or hypocritical preachers. Next one, lack of development. These characters didn't change or grow during the story. Their singular focus made them predictable but effective in delivering satire. Next one, social critics. The genre served as a mirror to society, reflecting its flaws and moral failures. Next one, urban setting. The plays often unfold bustling cities like London, providing a realistic backdrop for satirizing everyday life. Next one, purpose of comedy of humor. First one, main goal. The primary objective was to mock humans and societal weakness. By exaggerating flaws, the plays encourage viewers to recognize and correct their behavior. Next one, social commentary. The comedy of humor wasn't just for laugh, it had a moral purpose. Through satires, it exposed societal wrongs and encouraged reforms. Aim of comedy of humor. First one, didactic purpose. These plays aimed to teach moral lessons by showing the consequence of excessive traits or vice. The audience was encouraged to lead better lives. Next one, reflections of society. The plays acted as a mirror portraying contemporary society with all imperfections, hoping to inspire changes. Followers and their works. Ben Jonson inspired other playwrights like Thomas Middleton and John Marston, who adapted his style. An example includes Thomas Middleton's A Trick to Catch the Old One. It focused on greed and deceit. Johnson Marston's The Malcontent, that is, criticize hypocrisy and corruption. Next one, the most celebrated comedy of humor is Johnson's Every Man in His Humor. This play is a classic example of the genre, with characters driven by exaggerated traits like jealous and vanity. We see Ben Jonson's styles versus Shakespeare's style. Ben Jonson's style characters or types representing a single flaw or virtue, for example, greed or hypocrisy, that focus social satire exposing vice and follies. His character remained static without emotional depth or growth. But Shakespeare's styles or characters are multidimensional and show emotional complexity. They reflect a wide range of human experience, making them relatable and realistic. Shakespeare's works explores themes of love, ambition, and morality with a poetic touch. See setting of Johnson's comedies. Johnson's plays are set in realistic location like London, anchoring the satires in real world context. Shakespeare's, however, use imaginative settings like Venice, the Merchant of Venice, the Forest of Aden in As You Like It, or Ilria in Twelfth Night, offering audience escapism. Purpose of Johnson's writing. Johnson's primary aims was to expose societal flaws through satire. His tone was direct and often harsh, ridiculing greed, hypocrisy, and other moral failing. By highlighting these flaws, Johnson hoped to inspire change. Next one, character types in Johnson's work. Johnson's character represent specific social vice like greed or vanity. Next one, drawn from the lower or middle classes, making them relatable to the audience. Next idea, lack emotional depth as they are fixed in their traits. But in Shakespeare character, diverse and idealized, showcasing spectrum of human emotions, offers a deeper aspirational views of human nature. Conclusion part, the comedy of humor remains an important literary genre for its sharp critiques of humans and societal flaws. When it lacks the emotional depth of Shakespeare works, its realistic portrayal and beating satire makes it a significant contribution to drama. Ben Jonson's legacy as the pioneer of this genre ensures, with his works celebrated for their wit and moral insight. For this chapter, what is the comedy of humor? This means that the character in these plays are defined by one exaggerated quality like greed, vanity, or jealousy. These behaviors and decisions throughout the play are guided by these one traits, making them predictable but also humorous. Next one, who pioneered the comedy of humor? Johnson pioneered the comedy of humor, that is, Johnson is a key figure associated with this genre. He introduced the idea of creating characters dominated by one humor and used it to highlight human flaws and societal issues. What is the humor in the comedy of humor? Humor refers to an overmastering passions or dominant traits that controls characters' behavior. In this context of the comedy, humor does not mean funny, but rather an internal quality or personality traits rooted in the medieval concept of the four bodily humor. How are characters depicted in the comedy of humor? Characters are depicted as a types, each representing a specific vice or folly, with a limited development or complexity. These characters are not multi-faced or evolving. Instead, these are simplified, exaggerated figures designed to represent human weakness or societal flaws. Next one, how does Ben Jonson character differ from Shakespeare? Jonson characters are one dimensional, representing specific humor, while Shakespeare's characters are multi-dimensional and true or to nature. Jonson characters are fixed and predictable, whereas Shakespeare's characters shows a wide ranges of emotional and grow throughout the story, making them more relatable and lifelike. Next one, what setting are commonly used in Johnson comedies? Johnson comedies are set in realistic and familiar place like London. By using real life settings, Johnson's play felt relatable to audience, reflecting their everyday lives and environments. Next one, how do Shakespeare's setting differ from Johnson? Shakespeare's settings are romantic and imaginative, such as Venice and the Forest of Arden or Illyria. Likewise, Shakespeare often used exotic or fantastical locations to transport his audience into magical or otherworldly realms, offering them a sense of escapes. Next one, what is the main purpose of the comedy of humor? The purpose is satirize the follies, vice, and weakness of a contemporary society. For example, Johnson's plays were not just meant to entertain but also to criticize societal flaws, encouraging reflect on that behavior. Next one, how is Johnson's satire described? Johnson's satire is coarse and brutal. That means his humor was sharp and harsh, directly addressing moral failings and societal absurdities without sugarcoating them. Next one, what type of characters does Johnson use in his comedies? Johnson uses characters from low life representing particular social vices or follies. That is, his plays often featured ordinary people such as merchants or commoners who embodied exaggerated flaws like greed or hypocrisy. Thank you, viewers. Thanks for watching this video.